On this video, I'm going to show you how to write polynomials when you're given the roots. So if you know you have roots of 3 and -4, then you have factors of x minus 3 and x plus 4. So then you're going to multiply that together and gives you x squared. Then there would be a minus 3x and a plus 4x, so plus 1x minus 12. So y equals that. That would be the polynomial that would cross at positive 3 and -4. So if I give you numbers like that, it's pretty simple. Let's say I give you 2 and -2 and 5. So that's going to be x minus 2 times x plus 2 times x minus 5. So I would multiply those two together first, and that would give you x squared minus 4, and then multiply by x minus 5. And when you distribute that, you get x cubed minus 5x squared minus 4x plus 20. So y equals that would be your polynomial. So when I use this right here, I'm using that rule that says that a plus b times a minus b is equal to a squared minus b squared. I'm going to use that a lot coming up here. Okay, so let's say you have a radical. Let's say you have a radical 7, and let's say you have a 4. Well, if I give you radical 7, you have to know there's also a negative radical 7. I might only give you that one, but you need to know that they come in pairs. You'll never have a radical number without its opposite showing up there. So you would take x minus radical 7 times x plus radical 7 times x minus 4. And I would multiply those two together first. That will give you x squared minus 7 using this rule up here, okay? So first thing squared minus second thing squared. First thing squared minus second thing squared times x minus 4. That would give you x cubed minus 4x squared minus 7x plus 28. So that would be that, okay? I might give you something with I. Let's say I give you 3i and, well, let's just say I just give you 3i, okay? You've got to know that there's also a negative 3i. So that's x minus 3i times x plus 3i. So again, I'm going to use this rule, first thing squared minus the second thing squared. And then we're going to use the fact that I squared is equal to -1. So that becomes x squared plus 9. Okay, so you need to know how to handle those. You know, then if there would be like a 1, then like in addition to this, you'd have an x minus 1 multiplied by that part of the answer. So I can make these as long as I want. If you would have a 0, let's say you'd have a 0 and a 5, then you're going to have an x minus 0, which would just be x. So you've got x times x minus 5, so that would give you x squared minus 5x. So you could have something like that also. Okay, so the harder version is when you have things added together. So let's say you have 2 plus 3i. Well, if you have 2 plus 3i, you also have 2 minus 3i. Now, this whole thing is your root. So when you do x minus that, you get x minus 2 minus 3i, and this is x minus 2 plus 3i. So when you're doing this, let me get a highlighter here. You want to look at this x minus 2 as your first thing. Okay, and then your 3i is your second thing. So again, we're going to use this rule, a plus b times a minus b is a squared minus b squared. So the first thing is x minus 2 squared. That's your first thing squared. So think of that there. Minus the second thing squared. So now you need to multiply this out. So that's x squared minus, whoops, it's not minus 2x, it's minus 4x plus 4. And then that becomes plus 9 because I squared is -1. So your final answer is x squared minus 4x plus 13. Okay, so let's do another one like that. If you want to pause the video and see if you can do it, that would be great. So let's say I have negative 5 plus 7i. Okay, that means I'm also going to have a negative 5 minus 7i. So I'm going to have x plus 5 minus 7i and x plus 5 plus 7i. So x plus 5 is my first thing, 7i is my second thing. First thing squared minus second thing squared. This becomes x squared plus 10x plus 25, and then this is plus 49. So you end up with x squared plus 10x plus 74. So that's how you do that. Then you can do the same thing with radicals. Let's say I have an 8 minus radical 2. Then I'm also going to have an 8 plus radical 2. And then let's make this a little more complicated. Let's say we also have a 3 as a root. So I have 3 roots here. So I'm going to have an x cubed. So this gives me x minus plus radical 2. This is x minus 8 minus radical 2. And then this is x minus 3. And I'm going to deal with the x minus 3 last. I'm going to multiply these two together. So I'm going to take my x minus 8 as my first thing. My radical 2 is my second thing. First thing squared minus second thing squared. And then that whole thing is going to be multiplied by x minus 3. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. This then is square double square. So x squared minus 16x plus 64 minus, and then radical 2 squared is radical 4, which is regular 2. So whenever you have a radical squared or a square root squared, it just gets rid of the square root. So that just becomes 2. So 6, and notice this is minus. When we had i's, it was minus I squared, and I squared is negative 1, so it becomes a plus 9. This became a plus 49. But when I have a radical, a square root, it doesn't change to a plus. There's no reason to change it to plus. It's just minus. So this becomes x squared minus 16x plus 62, and then we still have to multiply it by x minus 3. So if I take x times all those, I get x cubed minus 16x squared plus 62x. Now I got to multiply everything by negative 3. So negative 3x squared plus 48x minus 186. Notice how when I did that, when I got to an x squared term, I put it beneath my x squared term, and when I got an x term, I put it below that. That way it's going to be easy for me to combine like terms. So x cubed minus 19x squared plus 110x minus 186. So that is the polynomial that has a root at 8 plus or minus radical 2 and 3. Okay, so we've done plus and minus with i's. We did a couple of those. We did this one. So I'll do one more of these, and you can pause the video and see if you get it. I won't put a third root in there. Actually, let's do a 0. That'll be easy. So let's do a 0, and then let's do a negative 4 plus radical 11. Okay? That means I'm also going to have a negative 4 minus radical 11. So if you want to pause the video now and see if you can do that, that'd be great. I'm going to go ahead and work it. So this is going to be x times x plus 4 minus radical 11, x plus 4 plus radical 11. So I'm going to worry about this x later. So this is going to be my first thing. This is my second. So I'm going to have x plus 4 squared. First thing squared minus the second thing squared. So this is going to give me x squared plus 8x plus 16 minus 11. And then I've got an x. So x squared plus 8x plus 5. And then I just multiply by x. X cubed plus 8x squared plus 5x. And so y equals that. And there is my polynomial.